podcast, the live version. It is me. I am back after a 1 week hiatus to indulge in way too much boysenberry related stuff last weekend, Honey. That's all I got to say. Lots of boysenberries down there at Knott's Berry Farm, um, and getting beat up by Ghost Rider. But other than that, it's good to be back, and it is myself. It is PC Tunney. Patrick is out this week as he is this time for real bowling for dollars and hopefully making lots of money. But we are here to talk about. Well, he just said something on Facebook. I don't know what it is, but maybe he's retiring. That'd be kind of cool. Not from podcasting, from his job. That is, So, Tony, how you doing, man? I mean, I feel like I just saw you like 12 hours ago or something.
By the time this airs on Chairshot Radio Network in its normal radio audio slot of Tuesday morning, I think I've officially re-earned the King of Content title. I will have had 4 articles and 14 podcasts come out in 9 days.
Good God. Yeah, I mean, and I haven't done half of that stuff with you.
I'm tired.
You're tired. Feel these nipples. No, yeah. Speaking of tired, Ray was going to show up, and he's just like, "I'm done. I got to tap out." And I'm like, fine.
And for all the things that I've been doing, Ray is like really close behind in the number of podcasts he's done. In addition, we're still working really hard to bring you the new version of the website. So it's coming soon. We're just kind of taking our time during WrestleMania season right now. So make sure you're also heading over to the attitudeofaggression.com. You can see the website right there. We got to have another unidentified history coming up soon, right, Dave?
We do. We've got. I'm almost done with the watching the S4, the Bob Lazar documentary, which is really good, Tony. I would really recommend it to you. We'll talk when we get to that. And I'm almost done with watching American Sasquatch, which is another really good documentary. And we'll probably do an episode about that. And then I at least want to sneak in Antarctica before Contact in the Desert, which is a month away, because that's going to be a whole show onto itself. And then Roswell, of course. But we got unidentified history. We've been doing Survivor Series 96 on Big Five. We did the WrestleMania 42 TriCast, which went along. Other things we're going to do tonight on Attitude of Aggression, because we're, kind of like not splitting this up, but just simulcasting a little bit. We're going to do the night 2 recap over on Attitude of Aggression tonight. So we got all sorts of stuff going on. But, what we want to do here on Four Corners Podcast is we've got but we only got really 2 really big things to talk about today. And the NBA and the NHL playoffs got going. And they are going as we speak. So we had some games yesterday. We're going to talk about some of what already happened. We're going to preview the series that haven't started yet. And hopefully get this thing out there for you guys to take a look at, wedged in between WrestleMania content and bandwagon nerds. But Tony, man, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk NHL first? You want to talk NBA first?
Let's start with the NHL so I can lean heavily on you. Because I mean, like, the best time to get me in on the NHL conversation is like when you get to maybe the semifinals. Because I really don't pay attention much to hockey until the playoffs start, unless I'm like looking at the standings to make sure Lightning are making the playoffs and what they're doing.
Oh,
that's about it. And they are. Which is, I know. So yeah, lead the way, my friend. Be the fullback for the NHL talk here.
Yeah. So let's go out west first and talk about what happened last night. And we had one of the series got going last night. The Stars are the number 2 seed, taking on the number 3 seed Minnesota Wild. These are 2 teams who are obviously very familiar with each other. I think this is like the second or third year in a row that we've seen this matchup in the playoffs. Dude, the Wild worked them last night 6-1. It was not close. And I mean, and it's hard I'm sure the people in Minnesota are going to be like, yeah, great, it's one game, who gives a shit? And they're right to have that approach to it, because the Wild have had a history of starting strong and not being able to finish, especially against this Dallas team. So I thought, if you're looking for strong starts on the road against a really good Dallas team, then that's good. But Dallas is a little bit banged up, if I remember correctly. We haven't talked a whole lot of hockey lately here, but man, they just let's just look at the stats on this thing. It's Yeah, just just a work job last night, 6-1. That's when you get beat up like that. That's quite the quite the ass whipping in game one, right? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Let's see, where is this thing? All right. Anyway,
It's funny. A lot of the stats are pretty close to the same. I mean, shots on goal, one difference by one. Penalties five each for the same amount of minutes. I guess you got the Wild capitalizing with two power play goals, but just a lot more block shots on defense, 17 as opposed to 8 by the Stars. So I guess maybe the Dallas Stars need to have a little bit more willingness to put their bodies on the line in front of the goalkeeper down on the
well,
on the defensive end.
and that's always what it requires in the playoffs. In the NHL playoffs is the teams that are willing to take that 100-mile-per-hour galvanized rubber slap shot in the groin are likely going to win the Stanley Cup, or at least have a better shot than those who are like, I don't know about this, is going to hurt. So you see that Boldy got 2 goals last night. Erickson got like you're saying, 2 power play goals. Erickson Eck got 2 power play goals. Rookie goalkeeper. Wow, they started Wallstedt, stopped 27 shots. So you're talking about goaltending, and Dallas has typically had one of the best goaltenders in the league in Ottinger. But that was not the case in game one. Now he'll probably bounce back in game two and that sort of thing. But yeah, like you're saying, they blocked more shots. They capitalized on the power play. They did the little things you need to do to win. It's a really, really strong start for Minnesota, and it really kind of puts Dallas on the back foot a little bit, where you don't want to lose the first 2 at home and go to Minnesota. I mean, in hockey, it's not as devastating as, like, we'll talk about basketball, but still, it's never a good idea to drop the first 2 at home. So, I mean, that you don't want to do that.
Yeah, especially since you have that mental advantage of, knowing you have home ice and not just losing that, but now you're down 0-2 with what, 4 out of the next 5 coming on the road,
Yeah,
or
that's
3 out of
that's
the
not
next 5.
that's not going to be a good recipe for success. Out east, we had the Hurricanes and Senators played game one. Carolina's the number 1 seed out in the East. Some controversy. Ottawa thought they tied the game up late. It got waved off. Carolina added, I believe they got an empty netter to put this one away 2-0. Again, like, we're going to draw the contrast to basketball. Unlike the NBA, where that 1-8 is almost like the death knell. It's like happened twice, where the 8th seed
I
takes
think
out the
the
number 1.
most infamous 8-1 in NBA history would have been the Nuggets beating the Sonics, Gary Payton and all, George Karl. They were, just a tremendous team, and Dikembe Mutombo with the ball on the
Yeah,
ground crying, and iconic
but that
moment
wasn't
there.
that. But that was a best of 5, right? That was a
I
best
believe
of 5.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like a couple of years ago there was something, an 8 beat a 1, and I don't remember circumstances, but there was a major injury like in game 1 or game 2, and the number 1 seed just like lost their best player and they got beat. But yeah, you don't see that happen in hockey. It's much more common where you see the 8 seed, because the games can just be decided by the narrowest of margins. But from the standpoint of Carolina, you got to look at it and say, well, that's a good start. You didn't blow them out, but Ottawa's a much better team than people think. But Florida's not in the playoffs this year, so their big weakness is not there. So Carolina's got to be looking at this is your guys' year.
I don't know who it was on Carolina, but I know Brady Tkachuk dropped the gloves in the first 30
On
seconds
the
to
on the
set the
face-off, yeah,
tone.
the
Yeah.
the 2 captains, I think it was Stahl and Kachuk, just dropped
Yeah,
the
Stall.
gloves.
Yeah, it was a big dude. But yeah, that's going to set the tone for the playoffs here, especially in that. I think Carolina is just a little class above Ottawa's entire roster.
I don't
Dogs
even know
agree.
what's going. The dogs are, yeah, I agree too. And I think like going back to the first series, since we're kind of tying in a preview as well. I mean, I think I'll go on a limb and give Minnesota the nod in 7 games this year. And I think that, that's, of course, had you asked me yesterday before they played, I probably would have said Dallas in 7. But because now they're down 1-0 and to get beat that bad, I kind of swing to say I like Minnesota in that series. But yeah, I agree with you. Carolina is a step above most of the other teams out east. They've got all that experience. Their big Achilles heel is not there. And that's going to be a big boon for the Carolina Hurricanes. Ottawa's a young team. I do love the fact, like you're saying, Tkachuk just right off the bat, 30 seconds in, saying, we're here to play you guys.
Yeah.
We're not going to just – and they played them tough. I'll give Ottawa a couple wins in this series, but Carolina's too good. And I think Carolina wins this 1-6. The other series is the battle for Pennsylvania between two teams I absolutely hate with a passion. As you could see by what I'm wearing here today, my team is not in the playoffs.
But at the same time, the NHL has to love this matchup. This is classic,
It is.
Are they both? No, the Penguins aren't original 6, are they?
No, I don't even think the Flyers are original 6 either. They're both expansion teams.
Are they? Okay.
I don't think, because it was Montreal, Boston, Toronto, Chicago. I don't know who the other two were. Was it Philly? It wasn't Philly. There are teams in Canada, right? I mean, I know Montreal, Toronto.
I thought it was
Chicago.
only two teams in Canada. The rest of them were.
Yeah, Montreal and Toronto were the 2. You got Boston, they're 3. Chicago's 4. The Rangers are 5. And I don't know who the 6th one would be. Trying to think. It's gonna
Bruins,
yeah,
Blackhawks, Red Wings, Canadiens, Rangers,
right.
Maple Leafs. I knew there was only the 2 Canadian teams. So yeah, you figure just New York, Boston, Chicago, and then throw in Detroit.
Yeah, the Red Wings have been out of the playoffs for so long that I just forgot about them.
Like one of the best runs in NHL history, like from the mid 90s to late 2000s.
They were so dominant for so long. You're exactly right. This series, I think if you're, and I talked to some people who are Penguins fans, and we get along fine despite that. And I,
hey, look at Patrick and I get along good. We got the Packers, Bears, and Cubs, Brewers thing going.
Yeah, you sure do. If I'm the Pittsburgh Penguins, and at the same time, I think like the Penguins are a better team than I gave them credit for early in the year, because most people wrote them off before the season started. And so for them to actually make the playoffs is a surprise. And to be the number 2 seed in the Metro is a bigger surprise. So they're better than I think. But this Philly team, and a guy I was talking to this morning about it, they've been playing for their lives for like the last few weeks, where Pittsburgh's been kind of cruising. They got beat by the Caps right at the end of the year, those 2 games. Philly has been playing for their lives. They beat Carolina in that shootout to clinch a playoff berth. And they seem to be the hungrier team at the outset of this game today or last night. And they get a 3-2 win. Pittsburgh got a goal late and almost tied it up. I think Rust had a really good look at the net to try and tie it up late in that game, and he just couldn't do it. But I mean, this is a classic rivalry, like you said, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, 2 teams that don't like each other. Anytime you get that Pennsylvania rivalry going on, it's going to be a good one. I kind of like the Penguins to pull this thing out, but it's not going to be easy. It's probably going to take them the full 7, and losing game 1 at home, like we said earlier, not the kiss of death, but it's never a good start. That's for damn sure.
No, but it's going to make for great playoff hockey here. Like you said, these 2 teams are intertwined throughout their history. So the battle for Pennsylvania, as you said.
Yeah, and I mean, and anytime those guys, anytime these teams get together, it's always just a fight, that sort of thing. And I don't imagine this is going to be any different. These guys are just going to go at each other, and it should be fun. I mean, it should be a good series. It should be a great series. And like you said, it's really good for the NHL that you get a matchup like that, where it's these teams who have this built-in rivalry, this built-in sort of like
they kind of set themselves up though the way they do their playoffs, right? Though I mean, like they kind of make you win your division in the playoffs ish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do. And I mean, when you get these things, and then NHL does a little bit weird with all the wild card sort of stuff and how
because
you can get
the 2 and the 3 from each division always play each other, right? And then you get the wild cards play the 1 seed. So you really are battling, for division supremacy first, which is really interesting dynamic as opposed to what NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball do.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's the 2-3s always meet each other. Then the team with the best record plays the 8 and all that sort of fun stuff. So yeah, it should be a great series. I'm looking forward to seeing how how it all plays out at the end of this thing. So let's talk about these series that have not. Oh, what did I just do there? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm back. I got it figured out. Talk about the series that haven't started yet, and let's go out west first, and we'll talk about the number one seed, the Colorado Avalanche, taking on the LA Kings. And the Avalanche, of course, are the best team in hockey. They won the President's Trophy. They steamrolled. I mean, had like, I know Patrick and I were talking early in the year, like we were looking at their record early in the year. It was ridiculous what they were doing. They kind of cruised most of the year. Now you're going to face a Kings team that had to, again, this is the same thing. They had to claw and fight and scratch their way to get into the playoffs. But dude, I don't see the LA Kings as much as I like the Kings because they're in my backyard. The Kings don't have what it's going to take to beat this Colorado team. This Colorado team is loaded. You know, you got Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, solid goaltending. They just roll four lines at you. They can check, they can block shots, they can do. I'll give the Kings one win, but I think it's Colorado in like 5.
This is easily the biggest betting favorite in any opening series here in Vegas. And here's a stat that even if you don't know hockey, you just know sports, that you can breathe in, drink it in, and you're going to understand why they're such a favorite. The Avalanche had a goal differential of plus 99 this year on the season.
That's ridiculous.
The Kings have made the playoffs with a negative 22 goal differential.
Yeah, and by comparison and contrast, a couple years ago when the Capitals made the playoffs with that terrible goal differential and they played the Rangers in the first round, and we saw that work. That was a 4-game sweep for the Rangers. This could very well be a 4-game sweep of similarly bad proportions. So I'll give LA the benefit of the doubt and say they get lucky and get one win, just maybe on home ice or something like in game 4. But even that's iffy. Colorado's just too good for these guys. Let's talk about Vegas and Utah. Vegas is, I mean, when you look at teams that are as good as the Vegas Golden Knights are, and they fire their coach in the last 2 weeks of the season, right? Which is like, it's unheard of. It's like, I know the Islanders did it because they were free falling. And as it turned out, the coaching change didn't make any damn difference because they missed the playoffs. But the Vegas Golden Knights and Cassidy has been a stalwart for Vegas, and they made the shift, and I think Tortorella took over for the Knights, and they finished strong. Utah, the Mammoth, are in their second year in Utah. I think this is their first year of using the Mammoth moniker. Love that logo. I'm so glad that they went with the Mammoth and just stopped being the Utah hockey team. I'm like, you guys aren't, this is not soccer. You got to have a nickname. That's like why the Washington football team didn't work. But this series will be, I mean, and again, it's the 1 versus 4 with the Golden Knights winning the Pacific and taking on the Mammoth, who are the number 2 wild card, the second wild card. This will be a little bit closer of a series, but I really like Tortorella is one of those coaches who really can get the best out of his team and out of his players. So I like what Vegas did. I don't agree with making that coaching change this late in the season. It's like, what are you guys doing? I mean, that's just upsetting team chemistry. Maybe that's what they needed. Maybe they just, Vegas looked at this. We are not performing up to capabilities. This is a team that's 2 years removed from being the Stanley Cup champions, or 3 years, excuse me, from being the champs. So lots of history there. This is, when you look at franchises who, from the time they started to where they are now, there is no success story like the Vegas Golden Knights, right? I mean, their first year they made, I know they were loaded that first year, but they made the Stanley Cup Finals their first year. They've been in existence for, this is their 8th year. They've been in the playoffs. I don't even think they've ever missed the playoffs. That's unheard of.
The NHL set that team up so that it wouldn't fail, so that it couldn't fail, because it was the first foray of the major professional sporting leagues into Las Vegas, and if that failed, it was not going to be good. They set them up so well, so much so that in fact they changed the expansion rules with the next expansion team
with Seattle, the Kraken.
Yes, and
they were still good too.
Kraken, sure, and you want that to happen, but like they basically gave Vegas a top 5 team in the NHL to start with the rules they applied to what they did. Which, you know what, in hindsight, it's been a good thing for them. It's been another power in the West. They
Yeah,
got a great culture there. They have a super amazing show. If you've never, I haven't been there, but what I've heard, if going to a
yeah,
game is an attraction, it's an event, not just a
yeah.
hockey game. And hockey games are so unbelievably underrated as a live sporting event as well. I think when you can get that close to something that fast, I think of like the NBA too. Like like I got to sit in the second row one night, um, courtside when Allen Iverson put up 60 against the Bucks. I've never seen a human float through spaces so quickly than Allen Iverson in my life.
He was something else. But I think you raised a great point about the NHL setting up the Golden Knights to succeed, because look at what that has led to. Like, I'm not talking about the NHL, Vegas in general, the Raiders, you got the A's. Now you've got an expansion basketball team. So you've got the four major pro sports leagues. Does Vegas have an MLS team? Because if not, that can't be far behind, because that's making money right now. But you're absolutely right. The Golden Knights set the template for Las Vegas. And yeah, the Raiders have been trash. That might be changing with Fernando Mendoza, that sort of thing. The A's stadium is going to be unbelievable when it's finally done, and they can stop playing at Sacramento State or wherever the hell they're playing these couple years. But I mean, the A's are funny because the fans in Sacramento come out in droves for those guys. I mean, they really support them well. But yeah, pro basketball team coming to what, Vegas and Seattle. I mean, we're going to get the
Back to
Sonic.
Seattle.
You got to
You
figure
got,
if they're going to be the
they're going
Sonics
to be the
again, right?
Supersonics.
Yeah.
They have to be the Seattle Supersonics, not just the Sonics, the Supersonics.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But I still I like Vegas in this series. I mean, Utah's a really cool success story. You know, the former the former Coyotes who went from playing at that 10,000 seat, or well, not even 10,000 seat, but all the trials and tribulations that they went through as the Arizona/Phoenix Coyotes to have a solid fan base in Utah, because the Utah fans are supporting them. I mean, Salt Lake City, talk about another market that's underappreciated. You got the Jazz and now you got the Mammoth. You know, it's like we're kind of missing the boat here, guys, a little
I
bit. But
believe they have a MLS team.
yeah, Real
Vegas
Salt
does
Lake.
not. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vegas does
Real.
not.
They have
Vegas
Real
has like a
Salt Lake.
USL team, I think, so like a minor league soccer team.
Yeah. I don't know, I got Vegas in 6 in this one. What do you think, Tony?
I think this is going to be a closer series than people think. I think the Mammoth are a pretty good team, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'll betting dollars. It would be a bet on Vegas here for the series.
Yeah, I think that's the safest bet we can do. Um, let's talk about the last series out west, because this one might be interesting. The Edmonton Oilers. So the Oilers have been to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. They're taking on the Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks, who are making their return to the playoffs after a lengthy absence. The Ducks have mammothly overachieved this year. Young team. They did a smart move at the trade deadline. They went and they got John Carlson from my guys, the Capitals, and Carlson's been around forever. And Carlson goes to Anaheim, and what does he do? He gets his first career hat trick, which I thought was extra special. But no, I was really happy to see Carlson get a new lease on life with a team like Anaheim, who, and this is exactly what the Ducks need, is somebody, a Stanley Cup champion with all that experience, who can offer that to a very young team who is going to be facing it against the best player in the NHL, Connor McDavid. You got Draisaitl. Edmonton can put it on you in a quick way if you give them the opportunity. That being said, man, I love these teams like Anaheim, who, and we'll talk about another team out east who I think has got a kind of like the same mindset, and you'll appreciate it because they're playing your guys. But Anaheim is like a young team who just kind of doesn't know any better at this point, and they're going to be playing. They know, like, they're playing with house money. Everybody expects Edmonton to steamroll them. Anaheim's going to be playing loose and free. Edmonton's got the pressure. Florida's not there to knock them out either this year. So if Edmonton gets to the finals, you got to figure maybe they got a shot at bringing the cup back to Canada right now. But like you said with Vegas and Utah, I think this is going to be a tougher series than people are anticipating. I think the Ducks give them a run a little bit here, but Edmonton's got too much depth, and they can draw on that star power when they need to. And we've seen what that can do. When the chips are down, those guys usually come through. I got, Edmonton in like 6 as well over here.
I would say even more so. on the Edmonton bandwagon here in the first round. I say gentlemen sweep at the best for the Ducks, even if they don't get swept. The Ducks are not a great defensive team, and you talk about all
No.
the weapons Edmonton has. So I just see them overpowering a hungry Anaheim team that should be able to build on what they had going this year. But for right now, in this first round, too much firepower from Edmonton.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, you're taking okay. Sorry, my wife's taking one of the pups to the groomers.
My
So
wife, take my wife.
take my
No,
wife,
Julie,
please. I
take
try to.
her.
Yeah, I try to take my wife everywhere. She keeps coming to theirs a
Oh,
little bit.
hello.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, you making your debut on the chair shot? Oh, okay. He's good. Let's go back out east. Talk about another team that, I mean, for years we've been talking about the Buffalo Sabres. And for years, we've been talking about when are they finally going to break through all that. They've got so much talent, Tage Thompson, all these other guys. Uh, this was the year. Buffalo finally broke through this year, ended a very long playoff drought. I think like 14 years they were out of the playoffs or something ridiculous like that. They are the number one seed out in the
They're the
Atlantic
two.
Division.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
two
one out of
overall.
yeah. My bad. My bad.
Right. Two overall, number one out of the Atlantic Division. They're going to be taking on the Boston Bruins. This is going to be a very interesting series. The dogs they're agreeing with everything I'm saying. But no, this will be an interesting series because you look at Buffalo, and we're talking about teams that are young and can do all this sort of stuff, right? And the Sabres are one of those types of teams. But you know, man, Boston has got all that experience, and I know they've let their fan base down horrifically a few years ago against Florida when the dynasty started against the Panthers, and they had set the record for points, and they flamed out. There's that 1-8 matchup that we talked about where the 8 beats the 1. I kind of like Boston in this series, Tony. I mean, Buffalo can do a lot of things, but it's their first chance in the playoffs. Is that pressure going to get to them? Is that pressure going to overwhelm them? Are they going to respond to this sort of thing? But Boston's got Pasternak and those guys. They know they don't have Brad Marchand anymore. I understand that. But I got a weird feeling Boston's going to pull this one out.
I'm going to go with Buffalo. I don't think it's going to be an easy series at all. I agree with you. This might be one of the best series of the first round, but when they're at home, those fans are hungry. They're not just hungry for a Super Bowl, they're hungry for a Stanley Cup, right? Those are their teams, and those are some die-hard fans. And if they can keep taking advantage of that home ice, I think they should be able to take care of Boston here.
They should, if, like you're saying, if they take care of home ice, if they play within their capabilities, if they don't succumb to the moment, to be there for the first time in all these years, and to actually be in a playoff series. I agree with you. Boston is like, it's another one of these teams playing with house money. No one expects the Bruins to do anything in this series. I mean, that team was a few years ago. This team is nowhere near what the Bruins were a few years ago, or so it seems. But again, this is another team that probably overachieved. They didn't make the playoffs a year ago. They're back this year. And I'm going with the upset here. I get what you're saying, but I like Boston to pull this thing out in 7 games, and Buffalo will build off that. But moving to the last NHL series before we take a quick break and move to the NBA, save the best for last, honey. Saved your boys for last. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Montreal Canadiens. This will be, I think, the best series of the first round, to be quite honest with you. I learned a lot about the Canadiens from the Capital series against them last year. And I realized watching them, this team is very dangerous. Cole Caulfield got 50 goals this year for Montreal, so he can score. He's dangerous. But on the other hand, the Tampa Bay Lightning just kind of came out of nowhere. And with Florida faltering for all the reasons that Florida fell apart this year, Tampa Bay slid right into their spot. And it's like, well, it's another Florida team that didn't miss a beat. They went on numerous long winning streaks this year. You still have Vasilevsky in goal. No, you don't have Steven Stamkos. But I think they still got Kucherov. They still got all these other players, all these other pieces. They still got their coach. Cooper's their coach, right? I believe, right? So Tampa Bay, and you talk about pedigrees in teams that know how to win. This is a team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups. This will be a tough series, man. I think Montreal is like one of those teams that we talked about. We talked about like teams like Anaheim, Buffalo. They're who are in their first foray in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Montreal was already there a year ago, learned a lot in that series loss to the Capitals. And they grew tremendously this year. This is the team that you can't sleep on. That being said, I'll take Tampa Bay probably at like 7 because I think that playoff pedigree will come in. But Montreal is a team that is going to, I think, take another step forward this year against a really, really good Lightning team. And you're looking at teams that benefit from Florida being gone. Here's another one who's been victimized. I mean, it'll probably be the Lightning and Hurricane in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's like, well, there you go, guys. No excuses now.
It's funny, we brought up how dominant the Avalanche have been this year with the 99 goal differential, right? Plus 99. The next team in second is 40 goals behind that, and it's the Lightning. That's how heavy of a favorite the Avalanche should be this year. That being said, if anybody can challenge anybody, it's a Lightning team with Kucherov playing the way 130 points this year. What, like 86 assists. I'm cheating. I got the stats pulled up.
No,
but
that's what the internet's for, buddy.
Right. But if Vasilevsky can get to his championship form and go out there and, you talk about it's different in hockey, it's different in baseball than it is in football and basketball because one guy can dominate a game. A pitcher and a goalie can dominate a game on their own, so much so that they can make it really hard for the opposing team to win. So Lightning stay healthy. Their top guys stay in form. I mean, Braden Point's missed some games this year, so that could have maybe cost them a higher seed here. But when you got guys like Ginsel and Hagel and Radish putting up 70-plus points this year, I mean, they got a strong chance here. They're diverse with their weapons.
Yeah, Gensel's been a revelation for Tampa Bay this year. I absolutely love this
season there. So you got 2 guys with 50-plus assists this year.
Yeah, I love this team. Montreal's got Caulfield and Suzuki. Tampa Bay's obviously got to neutralize them, or that's going to be a problem. That sort of thing, But like I said, I think this is the best series of the first round. We'll see where we go with this, and I think they start playing today. But Tony, I tell you what, man, I know we're running a little bit long here. Let's take our first commercial break. Let's slide into the NBA, which is your definite wheelhouse. Exactly. But go ahead, let people know about thechairshot.com and all the cool new stuff that's going on. And I mean, I defer to you, my friend.
Well, go to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot. Check it out. Makes a great gift any time of the year for the wrestling fan in your life. Chairshot.com, like I said before, plenty of cool things happening over there. We got daily WrestleMania legendary write-ups. CM Punk will be out today. Ultimate Warrior's been out there. Seth Rollins, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I wrote the other day. So go check out a lot and we got trivia on the website.
Macho Man. I wrote one on Randy Savage.
That one's coming out soon too. So it's just a lot of cool stuff. And next month, I don't know if I can announce the premium live event next month. I'll wait for Ray to announce it possibly on our WrestleMania pre-show. So for now, I would say before we return to more Four Corners action, listen to this.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
All right, we are back. Chairshot.com. I mean, we've even got Christopher Platt has come out of retirement. I mean, that is a
Kenny Kill is writing stuff too.
Kenny Kill is writing stuff.
And make sure you're going to the attitudeofaggression.com as well.
That too. Yeah. Can't forget about those guys over there. I hear the owner is kind of okay, but he can be a real dick. But
I deal with lots of nope, not going there. Not giving you that soundbite. Not giving you that soundbite.
Nice. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs. We had 4 games last night to start things off. The play-in is all done. I think, like Cleveland got going against Toronto. No surprise there. The Cavaliers, cruised to a pretty easy victory. I don't know. Do you see any surprises coming from the Cavaliers Raptors series, Tony?
As long as the Cavs stay healthy, they're probably a much more viable team than the 4 seed in the East, considering the late addition of James Harden. You figure if you can have healthy Harden, Mitchell, Allen, and Mobley on the court with the supporting cast they have on the bench with them as well, that's going to be a tough out in the playoffs for somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Cleveland is going to be a difficult path for anybody, like you're saying. Toronto's not going to really, like you say, as long as they don't suffer a major injury, I don't think the Raptors have much of a chance. Maybe sweep 5 games. What do you think?
You just don't have a lot of winning playoff experience. I mean, Jacob Portal and Brandon Ingram are kind of leading the way. RJ Barrett. I mean, these aren't guys you've known for winning playoff series. Where on the other hand, like I said, you got the Cavs who've been winning playoff series the last couple of years, just getting better, and you add James Harden now.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of drama coming from this series. That's for sure. Shifting to Denver and Minnesota, though. Now these are teams with a lot of history. They've played the last 2 seasons, and haven't they split the last 2 playoff matchups, if I remember correctly? I don't remember all the way, but Denver took game 1 in a game that probably is a little bit closer than the score indicates, 116-105 last night. It seemed to be pretty close for at least 3.5 quarters. Denver pulled away late. Jokic, of course, the man that he is, but what do you think about this series? I mean, the West looks like it's Oklahoma City and everybody else, maybe San Antonio. But how do you look at this series going, and can Denver be a threat to make it to the finals?
100%. I've included Denver in my teams to that could win the championship all season long, as long as and health is a thing with everybody, right? To me, I have the Spurs as a better shot to make it to the finals than OKC, but all 3 of these teams are right there. When you have Jokic playing the way he is and Jamal Murray's healthy, everything that they have going on over there. And on the other side for Minnesota, until Anthony Edwards is willing to do all the extra difficult unnotoriety-wise things on a basketball court that champions are willing to do, he's not going to reach the next level.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like Denver in this series. I mean, Minnesota is. You talked about just a minute ago how one person can really change a series in baseball or hockey, and that doesn't work with Minnesota. And too often they're a one-trick pony with Anthony. With Edwards, right? And that'll tend to hurt them a little bit. But Denver got game 1. They look like they're going to be a real threat. I'm assuming you're going with Denver to win this series.
Of course.
Yes. Going east, the Knicks and the Hawks. And I think for all of Stephen A. Smith's pontificating and worrying about the New York Knicks, I don't think they've got a lot to worry about in this series against Atlanta. Atlanta, New York took game 1, 113-102. The Knicks are quietly going to be one of my favorites to get out of the East. I just think that they've got, enough talent around them to do some damage this year. But the Knicks take game 1. Atlanta's a young team. They, of course, they traded their, one of their major pillars of the team, Trae Young, to the Wizards. Got a little bit younger. They'll give the Knicks some trouble here and there, but I don't see them beating New York in this series. Do you?
I give Atlanta a better chance of winning this series than I give New York making it past the second round, because they're not beating Boston. If Atlanta can find a way to slow Jalen Brunson down just a little bit, that's the only reason the Knicks, I think Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most overrated blowhards in the NBA. Yeah, you can at me at there it is, PC Tunney right there. But Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, these are young guys that need to stay together. They got some veteran leadership with CJ McCollum, a big man in Okongwu, some other good role players. I mean, Kuminga's coming off the bench for them. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta pushed this series as far as they could, and possibly if they find a way to slow down Brunson, they got a chance. But I would still probably take the Knicks in 7.
Yeah, I like that. I know a lot of people are sweating this series for the Knicks, mostly the people in New York, of course. But and I like what you're saying, and I think the key is, of course, slowing down Brunson, because as he goes, so do the Knicks. But Atlanta's like one of those young teams that you look at and say that. I mean, I like, they traded Trae, They got McCollum. He can score. He can hit threes. He's got some of that leadership capabilities. New York just seems to be a more talented team. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. The biggest upset of last night, though, the Lakers take down Houston. What is this? 107-98 in a series that nobody other than no, I take it back. Trick Williams picked the Houston Rockets to get to the NBA Finals. And everybody's looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about, Trick? But the Lakers, on the other hand, nobody gave them much of a chance. LeBron was playing, but everybody else seems to be hurt, right?
Austin Reeves and Doncic are out currently.
Yeah, right.
But the problem
right.
is Houston. Durant didn't play for Houston either, so
That's right.
LeBron had a hell of a game. LeBron had 13 assists. The big story for LA though is Luke Kennard has come on and has confidence. He had 27, 5 of 5 from 3 yesterday. The Lakers, if they were healthy, they could be a contender in the West, but like just to mix mash these guys in a literal mash unit once they get to the second round, possibly if they can, because Houston's still a decent team. They're just really young. This is really like neither of these teams are beating Oklahoma City. So
no. I think the bigger question for these guys, or at least coming out of game one, is can the Lakers keep this up? Because
I think so.
That was
get to the second round.
I like Houston in this one. I'm not going to go as crazy as Trick did and say, yeah, Houston to the finals. But I do, it depends. If Doncic and Reeves come back at some point in the series, then all bets are off. And the Lakers probably win this thing, especially getting game one. If they stay out, I think that youth of Houston, KD will get in there. He'll have games comparable to what LeBron did. I like the Rockets to win, but that's not a good start. They did not look good at all last night. And the Lakers looks surprisingly good. And I agree with you 100%. At full strength, if the Lakers are fully healthy, they're a threat. I don't think they are not beating Oklahoma City. We saw what happened a couple weeks ago when they were on that winning streak and they went into Oklahoma City and got dog walked. But, if they're at full strength, do they beat Houston? Yes. If they stay like this and it's LeBron and the rest of those guys, Kennard will have to, can Kennard keep up that kind of performance? I don't know, man. Maybe. But I do like Houston in this series eventually, but I may be wrong about that. Let's move on to the other series. One of them is going on as we speak. And man, remember earlier, we talked about Flyers and Penguins, classic rivalry, right? Lakers Sixers is as classic an NBA rivalry as you're going to get. Sorry. Yeah. My bad. I was thinking of Lakers. Sixers Celtics is as classic an East Conference rivalry as you're going to get. And this is not going to be much of a series because right now we are in the second quarter. It's 56-36, a 20-point lead for the Boston Celtics.
Now it's 58-36.
Yeah, and it's just going to get worse as we go along. Boston got healthy at the right time. They got Tatum back. They look like, unless Detroit gets some people back, it's going to be
Kate Cunningham back.
Did they get Cunningham back?
Yep,
okay.
They got him back before the end of the season, so they're doing all right.
Yeah, the Sixers, Maxey is awesome. I love Maxey. I love what he brings to the table, but he can't do it all on his own. Embiid is just whatever he is, which is in the playoffs, he just seems to be like that shrinking violet sort of.
Well, he's not even playing.
He's not even playing? Well, there you go. Yeah. This feels like a sweep coming to me, Tony. Boston's going to just take out Philadelphia pretty handily and move on.
Boston will be in the NBA Finals. Period.
Yeah, talk about teams who got healthy at the right time, especially they want a shot at the Knicks because of what happened last year.
And think about think about this. Think about what the Boston Celtics learned how to do. They learned how to play without Jason Tatum.
Yes.
And now that they have him back, that just means how much he's going to be in the majority of the time. But now when he's not in, they're even better in those moments than they have been. And they've already won a championship.
Or if he's having an off game, then they know who do we pivot to. Who's it? Jaylen Brown is of course one of the main ones.
Jaylen Brown is a fucking stud. If he you've seen the stats he put up this year on his own, he's definitely a guy that can do whatever they need him to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the call Boston to the finals. I think that that's a very safe bet. And I think it's exactly for the reason you said. This team learned so much and excelled through the first 3 quarters of the season before they got Tatum back that now you're like, we know exactly what to do. If things aren't going our way, they are an infinitely better team now than the team that won the championship 2 years ago. So
They got two underrated big men. Nehemias Queta has had a really good year coming on strong for them. And I'm going to eat some crow right here. I said Luka Garza would never be a contributor to a successful NBA team coming out of Iowa. And lo and behold, he is a really good big man off the bench for the Boston Celtics this year. So don't let it be said that I do not admit when I'm wrong. Sometimes.
I think this next series is going to be a real quick discussion because the Suns are not doing anything against Oklahoma City. I mean, your reward for winning the play-in is you get to play the best team in the NBA, the defending NBA champions. This should be a sweep. I mean, I don't see any place where the Phoenix Suns have a favorable matchup in any aspect of this series. Do you?
So we've had a really good conversation about 4 series that are going to be good series, and they all started yesterday. Today, we can kind of just bundle this all together here. These last 3 series,
That's true.
The Pistons aren't losing to the Magic, and the Spurs are. I mean, barring an
injury,
earth-shattering injury, right?
Like
these teams are winning.
Like Wemby going out or something unexpected like that.
Right, Kate Cunningham goes back out again. You lose Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, something like to those effects, right?
Right. I mean, Orlando, I'll give Orlando credit that nobody thought they were going to beat Charlotte the other night, and they finally played like people thought they should play all year for one game.
They've had a better seed the last couple years that people thought they very much underachieved this year. They did have some injuries early to one of the Wagners and Boncaro, so it happens.
Yeah, I mean, they should have been a 4 or 5 seed and avoided this.
That's what they've been.
Yeah, and you could have avoided Detroit. But if Detroit is healthy, you're not. The Pistons are going to steamroll Orlando, Oklahoma City, the Blazers. It's like there's a team that kind of overachieved. But yeah, the Spurs. I do want to, before we cut out of here, because I know we're running a little bit late, but the Spurs arrived too early. I mean, some people think they arrived sooner than expected. But I guess the question to you, Tony, is have they arrived too early? Is this a team that can they match up favorably with Oklahoma City? If this goes the way we think, and the West Finals are OKC versus San Antonio, are they ready for that kind of matchup, and can they win that?
100%.
Okay.
Some guys skip the line. Magic Johnson skipped right to the front of the line. Some guys don't skip the line. Michael Jordan had to earn it. But Wemby's special. Kareem was special. Magic was special. The guy's a fucking alien in the best possible way. Shout out to Unidentified History. And the thing about it is he's playing for a team with one of the best cultures in the NBA. And he's surrounded by some amazing talent. De'Aaron Fox, Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, and a number of other really good role players and scorers on that team. And they all play fucking defense. That's why Oklahoma City is good, and they're going to be good. That's why San Antonio is good. That's why Boston's good. Those are my 3 favorites to win the NBA championship, with Denver at Denver, and then like a half step behind that if Cleveland really gets their shit together. But those are my 5 teams. If any other team wins the NBA championship with those 5 teams, I'll be thoroughly shocked, barring earth-shattering injuries. That's kind of my take on the rest of the NBA playoffs.
Last question for you, and then we're out of here, is I see you said the Celtics are going to make the NBA Finals. Can they beat Oklahoma City, San Antonio, or Denver in a set? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Think about the most dynamic duo in the NBA with championship experience.
Yep.
I think it's Tatum and Brown.
It's a good call.
I mean, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has a great surrounding cast, but who's the number 2? Jalen Williams has been hurt this year. Chet Holmgren is very good, but he's not their go-to guy, secondary option. There's just a lot of good ball players on that team. So if a gun to my head, I would have to say the Spurs are going to win the title this year.
Wow. That'd be something. Not that I'd be mad about it. But yeah, that's
San Antonio over Boston. What do you got? Come on. You got me to make my prediction here.
I got
5 games into the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I think I got Oklahoma City repeating right now. I watched that team last year, and
Who's
I
coming
think
out of the East?
Boston. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you there. They're like, and for a lot of the reasons you said, this is a team that knows how to win, and now they know how to win different ways, and that's massively invaluable. When you've got that with I like, because Oklahoma City. The reason I would take them over the Spurs is I think that they can flip that defensive switch a little bit better than San Antonio can when they have to, and I saw that last year when they absolutely had to have stops against Indiana. They did. Until Halliburton went down with the injury and it changed everything. But I got Oklahoma City repeating as champions. But I like everything that you said, Tunney. My man, that's going to do it for this episode of the Four Corners podcast. Let people know, where can they check you out on social media and all that. Oh, well, it's right there on the screen at PC Tunney. As for me, Tunney's got the website attitudeofaggression.com, which is the best way to get a hold of me, or the YouTube channel. Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel. That's going to do it for the Four Corners podcast. We'll be back next week to see how things are going. I mean, like you said, today's probably not going to be very competitive. Oh, wait, Philadelphia's pulled with an 18. There you go.
Lord help us.
Look, it's going to be a great comeback. I say that, but we watched Boston choke up how many leads against the Knicks last year, so you never know. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Four Corners podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, everybody take care. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Enjoy the NHL playoffs. They should be great shows as always.